Hey, how are you? Welcome back to me in my living room. This is a project that I've been honestly putting off for a little while, mostly just because I really want to do it justice and give it the time and the video that it deserves. But at this point, I really just want to get started on it, and I'm home today. I don't really have anything else that I need to be working on, so I thought it would be a good time to kind of just see how much progress I can make on this in a day. But I mostly just want to get started on it. I loved the last gown project that I worked on. I had so much fun making that, and even though it was really one of the earlier things that I ever sewed, it's still one of the things I get most excited to show people. Because it had a specific deadline, timeline necessary, it was definitely a little bit rushed, and there are some things that I would have done differently if I had more time. Also, it was just a really big learning process because I'd never done anything like that before. So I've known that I wanted to come back and make another gown project pretty much since I made the first one. I talked about this in the video itself, but I was having a really difficult time landing on the design I wanted to do for the dress, just because while I was looking around making my vision board, there were so many cool, exciting, fun, whimsical things that I wanted to incorporate, and just knew I couldn't do them all within the span of one project. So I've been really looking forward to getting into making more gowns, more formal projects. So this has been a little while in the making. I actually bought the fabric for these probably a couple months ago at AK Fabrics in the Garment District. I guess I'll show that to you now. So I have a few different fabrics that I'm going to be working with and incorporating. As you can see, the color scheme is a bit golden. I think the focal point fabric of this whole piece really is going to be the fabric that I got for the bodice. This is the fabric that I picked out very first for this project just because it really caught my eye, and it has these really nice embroidered details with the leaves and flowers on it. I just think it's so beautiful. Really, my main intention is to have a little simple bodice made out of this, and then hopefully if there's enough fabric left over, I would really like to make some off-the-shoulder puffed sleeves out of this, like a little baby sleeve. I think that would just look so cool with this fabric. So that's kind of what made me decide to make this dress, was finding this and kind of having that vision in mind. This fabric is pretty boring. This is the one that I got just to be the inside layer of the bodice. So this will be the part that's facing me, and this will be the part that's facing out. And then I got about 5 yards of this fabric because from last time I made the dress, that was how much fabric I needed to make a circle skirt at floor length. That's what I'm planning to do with this. I think just a regular circle skirt. I thought about potentially also doing a shorter circle skirt that goes about down to my knees, and then using the rest of the fabric to do a gathered skirt, so that way it has ruffles at the bottom. I need to do a bit of fabric mapping to make sure that I can do that, but I feel if I'm smart about it, I can make it work. So this is going to be the interior layer of the skirt, and then I also got some of this sheer organza fabric. I used an organza on the last gown that I made, and I had said actually that it kind of wrinkled really easily, and so I wish that I had put something else as the top layer. But here I am again. I think it'll be fine. I just really liked the shimmer of this and wanted to pick it out, so okay. But those are the fabrics that I picked out to make this dress. Pretty much the plan is just to work on this today and see how much I can get done. I'm gonna start on the skirt, I think. I'm gonna start with the skirt and see how it goes. Okay, thanks, bye. So I just measured out my fabric, and I have 5 yards of this that I bought. The height of it I just measured is 58 inches. And so I was measuring to try to figure out if I have enough to do this kind of split level idea that I have, where I have a circle skirt on the top, but then like a gathered ruffle effect as like a second tier. And I think that I have enough to do it. So this is the tracer pattern thing that I used last time that I made a circle skirt. So this is the little part that I cut out at the top to be like the waistline. So when I'm trying to figure out how much I need to cut out of the fabric, it's going to be the radius of this, which is 5.5 inches, and then plus whatever length I want the skirt to be. For me, like on the overestimating side, from like my high hip to the floor length is about 40 inches. So what I'm thinking is maybe doing this as like a split level that's like about 20 inches and 20 inches. I was thinking about like just to be generous and make me feel like I have some wiggle room if I want it to be longer or shorter. I think initially I'm going to try to cut this at 30 inches of length, so that's going to take out 35.5 inches of the fabric. So I was just doing the math to figure out like the circumference of the circle that I'm planning on cutting. And with the 30-inch length, I'm saying a lot of numbers right now. I hope that made sense at least a little bit. Once you get like through the math part of this, like I feel like the actual like cutting and construction of a circle skirt is super easy. So I feel pretty confident that I can at least finish that today and that it's gonna look cute. So I'm gonna get started on cutting the fabric now. Gotta commit to the design, but I feel pretty good about it. So thanks. Okay, never mind. Okay. So update, because I realized I was being really stupid. I forgot that the whole fabric is folded in half the entire time I'm doing this, so I actually only have half the amount of length that I thought I did. I'm probably going to try to cut this actually at like 25 inches if I want to do this tiered skirt effect, and that means that I'd be cutting 25 inches across as well once I fold this. So that means I'll be taking up about like 2 yards of the fabric to make the top tier. But the good thing is that I'll still have 3 yards left over in length that way, which should be plenty for me to still cut the strips that I need. I'm just gonna have to do it in 2 parts. So I still do have enough fabric, just wanted to correct like in the way that I'm accomplishing in that. It is 2 p.m. now. I just finished up serging on all of the edges of the pieces that I've cut. For the ruffle layer at the bottom, I ended up using 3 different panels. They're all 19 by 3 yards, which means that I'm working with about 9 yards of fabric for the bottom layer. So doing all of the finishing for that took quite a while. I haven't rolled the hem and done like my second seam for the bottom of the skirt yet, but I wanted to go ahead and do the gathering first and try to attach it to the circle skirt so that I can make sure that I like how it looks with these dimensions before I like spend more time on finishing this crazy long hem. I'm gonna start on the gathering now and see how it looks. The circumference of the circle skirt is like around 5 yards, so it'll be close to like a 2 times increase, so in theory that should be fine. But I guess I'm gonna just start gathering it and see how it looks. For me to plan this out correctly, I technically like need to lay this out to match the length of the top layer. So I'd be gathering this where the length of the top here is 5 yards, but genuinely I don't think my living room is even 5 yards. I think instead of doing it like true to length, I'm gonna get it gathered to what looks about right to me based on like my familiarity with what a 2-time gather usually looks like. And then I'm just gonna try to pin this at like the 3 different seams that mark like a third of the way. The gathering for that took a really long time, but I just finished attaching the top circle skirt to the little extra ruffles I added at the bottom, and the effect of it looks really nice. I try to be really careful with like the way that I'm placing the ruffles. They always feel like a little bit uneven no matter like how much planning I put into it, but I think I did a good job. There's like a couple places that I might want to go back over, and I still have the finishing to do at the very bottom, and I need to seal, like close off the side here where they meet. But aside from that, the interior skirt is done, so I'm gonna go ahead and try try it on. So okay, so I've been working on this since around 9 in the morning, but I feel like I got a lot of progress for like just one day working on this home with a little free time. I think for the rest of the night, probably what I'm going to be doing is just like the finishing details for the skirts. Nothing super interesting, and the sun's going to be going down soon, so I'm going to put some more time in on this tonight, finish it up a little bit better, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Okay. See ya. Hey. All right. Good morning. So pretty much the only thing I came back to do last night was just finishing up the hem at the very bottom of the skirt, and then also closing up the last 2 panels I had to connect on the lower layer. This morning I came back and just did some heat and steam on it to try to get some of the wrinkles out and have the hem lay nicer and flatter. Mostly the skirt is done. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got to make some progress on this. Like I said at the beginning, I've been putting this project off for a while. So long actually that like when I originally had this idea, I wanted to do it kind of themed around like the Met Gala theme this year. So obviously the fabric's been sitting on my shelf for a minute. I think just getting started on something is like the hardest part of the process sometimes. So I feel like I'm probably gonna keep working on this over the next couple weeks. I don't think it'll really take me that long to actually like get through the work of it. I just have like a couple design decisions I haven't decided on. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up my Pinterest board because I kind of want to like go over what I'm thinking. I would genuinely like really value some thoughts on like what fits well with this project. For the skirt portion of this, I had thought about doing something that's like a bit of a high-low, but I think that I want the whole interior layer covered with fabric. So if I did that, it would probably be like a mix of different layers at different heights, if that makes sense. I have this one skirt saved that has a similar kind of effect, but I'd have to do some math to see if I have enough fabric for that. I was thinking about doing something where I have some kind of like different angled layers that are falling over each other. I feel like it looks kind of like a little flower petal when people do that with skirts, and it's just really nice. I have 5 yards of the organza. If I have an idea that I really love and I need a bit more fabric for it, I wouldn't mind going back in to get a bit more. But those are just a couple of the things I was thinking. For the bodice, I'm still kind of trying to decide about the pattern that I'm going to go for. I know that I want the neckline to be flat, and then I'm going to try to hopefully have enough fabric left to do my off the shoulder puff sleeves, maybe as their own like separate detachable piece. I've been looking around for like a couple different really simple bodice patterns, and I have a couple that I found on Etsy that I'm thinking about using. I also though recently self-drafted a pattern based off of one of the corsets that I own. So I actually made like a mock-up with this pattern that I put together. I think it came together really nicely. The only thing with the pattern that I made is just that it does have quite a few different pieces connecting it. So I'd have to cut up the fabric into like 3 different pieces on the front and then 2 that make up the side and the back. And since the fabric just has the embroidery detail, I don't know how much I'll want to cut it up and like disrupt the pattern. But those are kind of the things I'm thinking for moving forward. I would love to hear your thoughts, your suggestions. I feel like it's gonna come together really nicely and I'm excited to wear it. I feel like this is probably gonna be my new favorite thing to show people when I tell them that I sew. Just wanted to make a bit of a quicker video and get started on a little project I've been putting off for a minute. If you're here, if you're watching, if you made it this far in the video, I'd love to hear from you. Please do leave a like, leave a comment, let me know you're here. It means the world to me. Thank you so much as always for hanging out with me while I work on the things I'm making, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.